Hello everybody. So today's video is going to be all about a mentality that I hate, and this is a mentality I think that is peculiar to the British Isles. I mean, this is a mentality that says, oh, never, 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 it'll never happen, or this will never happen, or that's impossible. You know, and I'm reminded of something my godmother said to me once, which I think was rather sage actually. She said there's no such thing as can't. There's no such thing as you can't do something. And at first sight, you might think, like, maybe that's a bit reductionist, there's certain things we can't do. You know, I can't transmute lead into gold, for instance. But then again, one day, maybe we'll be able to. You know, maybe we'll be able to do that. And I live with this girl at UEA in East Anglia, and I brought up the subject of chemical 3D printing. And she was like, oh, that's impossible, we'll never be able to do this. Well, I was just trying to, like, put into conversation that this fact of this bit of research existing, that people are thinking of this sort of thing now. And, you know, you have, like, the likes of Charles Babbage back in the 19th century with the analytical engine, or the analytic engine, you know, the sort of, the prototype computer, if you like, which didn't work, you know, and wouldn't come to work for another 90 years or so until the invention of Alan Turing of the first computer. But this is sort of how science works. Like, a lot of things lie in the background for many, many years, or lie in obscurity until they're rediscovered by somebody, and they build on that work and recognise the importance of it and keep pursuing it. You know, science is all about collaboration. It's not about individual geniuses necessarily, you know, creating a dramatic new paradigm. I mean, Darwin's work, that was all building on other stuff. The work of his father, actually, I think, also. Not to mention the work of, you know, going back to the ancient Greeks even. Isaac Newton said himself, you know, standing on the shoulders of giants, you know, because he was the guy who read everything in the library and filched as much mathematical and physical knowledge as he could from ancient texts and so on, and got obsessed with alchemy for many, many years, but eventually reformed the Royal Mint, so found a sort of minor application, I suppose, with his skill at the combinations of metals and so on, melting them. But yeah, this is how science works. It's not a perfect instrument by any means. It's a bit rough and ready quite often, and if you want to see like what the breadth of what science entails, you know, you will find sort of, you know, strange little fellows in their garage that are working on some machine that they think might save the planet, you know. But I mean, and maybe like in 95% of the cases they probably wouldn't, but you get all sorts of people, like this guy building a plane out of hemp plastic. That's rogue science. You know, you've got people experimenting in their garages with CRISPR-Cas9 and doing genetic engineering experiments and all this sort of thing, and mycology. You've got the weed industry breeding new and weird and interesting types of weed. Like, that's all science. You know, they're scientists. Of course they are. You know, growers and breeders and so on and what have you. Like, I think people too often think like science is biology, chemistry, and physics, and maybe economics if we're feeling generous. But just missing out a whole slew of different sciences, you know, ways of doing science, or means of doing science, or reasons to do science. And you've got these great figures like supernovae hunters in their backyards, with their telescopes just looking through space for supernovae and charting them and cataloguing them. And yeah, like citizen scientists, and you occasionally get like one of them making rather an important finding. Occasionally, like some like citizen astronomers. And on a side note, I'd love to have a telescope in my back garden. Like, that'd be great, I think. Like, it's something to, that I'd like to have as a cool element of that the household I end up having, let's say. I was going to watch the telescope. So, but let's go find Saturn or Uranus or Neptune or Jupiter. I'm bollocks, Mars. Sure. But no, probably like an important like way station on the way to Jupiter, and maybe more develop into some sort of society. We'd hope. But yeah, like science goes on all over the place, and in all forms, in all shapes and sizes. Like I studied agriculture at Plumber College. I'm going to complete my 3rd year, I hope. That's a science. Agriculturalists, farmers, they're constantly doing science. It's like reappraising new methods in light of sort of the older ways of doing things. And yeah, like horticulturalists, that's science. The science of planting and growing flowers and gardens and things like this. Crossbreeding plants even, that's looking into genetics. But yeah, science is fucking cool. Science is the best. And it's disappointing, I think, when people who they don't really have a pedigree in science just shout something down and say, oh, it'll never work, that's impossible. Like, do you really know that? Chemical 3D printing got that to work, like, we'd be living in a different age. It would change the world, it would change chemistry entirely, chemical engineering, it would all be different. I see it coming actually, one day, I think. Maybe not now, but yeah, I mean, we need to be more open-minded, I think, as people, and more open to the possibilities entailed by human ingenuity. Because without that, like, we have nothing to invest in, do we? We have nothing to sponsor, nothing that boosts economies and drives economic growth, which really is innovation, not, not the routine production of cheap rubbish so much, I don't think. So yeah, I mean, science very, very diverse, very, very diverse indeed, and it's worth looking to the future with hope, I think, and to try and figure out how you can make a good contribution to that future, if you can. And it's worth thinking about all sorts of opportunities to try and claim your stake in that future by innovating and doing something great. And just to try, if you can. Even if it's just in your garage, fiddling around with some random machine, or, growing weed, or experimenting with CRISPR-Cas9, or whatever it is. You might invent some sort of like new bacteriophage or something that can kill, I don't know, methicillin-resistant bacteria, or whatnot. It might come from someone's garage. That's an exciting thought, isn't it? Citizen science. Rogue gentlemen of science. Sort of just experimenting in their laboratory. No, one has one's laboratory. And this, that, and the other is a cool idea. It's really, really good. And yes, it's a reason for loving science. It's one of the reasons we all love science. Or everyone should love science anyway. What it's given them. I mean, even your hardest core creationists and so on, and your most anti-science Christian, they still benefit from the printing press, don't they? Because they've got a Bible to read now, in their own language, more than likely. Which, strictly speaking, is a political achievement, but you know what I mean. Or a psycholinguistic achievement, or a literary achievement, which is an arts thing more, but yeah, so thank you everyone for watching, bye bye bye, I love you lots, and continue loving science, continue pursuing science if you are a pursuer of it, and yeah, thank you for watching, bye bye, lots.